that bad? Eh. Hey everybody, this is Jeff. Thank you for watching Greenlight Total Entertainment. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And today we're talking about the movie Morbius. So before we get started, I know a lot of people probably seen the movie already, or if you haven't, you're probably not going to see it. But really didn't know if I want to make this review or not, only because I don't like bashing films. It's something I don't like doing as a movie fan, and I'm not always feeling like the kind of person that want to go out and spit out negativity and venom. No pun intended, but just wanted to figure out if I really want to do this film. And the reason why I wanted to, because it was some things that myself and the other guys from this channel, we wanted to get off our chest, and just wanted to just have a video out there just showing that, even though this movie came out, it didn't become the movie that we expected it to be, but we're still gonna support and be happy what Sony brings out, and hopefully the next movie they bring out is better than this. However, this one is not as bad as the Rotten Tomato score that is out there from the critics, and I think it should be higher than that. If you look at the films that around that percentage range, it's 10 times. Those movies are 10 times worse than Morbius. Morbius is actually not that bad. It is watchable. It's just not good. I would say the rating should be around 40 to 59. That should be an honest rating from the critics. But if everybody didn't like it, they didn't like it. But that's one thing I want to say about the film. Is not that bad. Where that 17% or what it is today, when you watch this film, it's not that bad. So let's get into it. So this movie is starring Jared Leto as Dr. Michael Morbius. And also Matt Smith, who plays his brother Milo Morbius. They're, I guess, adopted. Someone adopted him. I don't know who, but Milo came in the movie when they were kids. They met at the hospital, but they weren't related then. So I don't know. Maybe the Morbius family adopted him, but they never showed that. So I'm kind of confused about that, because in the credits it says Milo Morbius. So I don't know where that story went to. But they met in the hospital when they were kids, and maybe the bond was strong, and I guess the family was like, we're going to adopt her. Who knows? I don't know. Also in the film was Tyrese Gibson was playing Sinister Six, who was also in the comics. I forgot the girl's name who played Martine Barcroft, Michael Morbius' love interest in this film. She's a new actress. She's been around for a little bit, but I can't remember her name. Her name escapes me. I'll probably put in a link or something like that right now. But yeah, she's pretty decent. She wasn't bad at all. Jared Harris, who's playing Dr. Nicholas, who is the person who probably adopted him, but I still understand how Milo got the Morbius last name. But hey, maybe you just gave it to him. The director of this film is Daniel Espinosa, and the two writers of this film is Matt Sumuza and Burke Sharpless. Those two have been working together for a while, and they were other films as the last Power Ranger movie, which was not good. I want to say The Gods of War. It was another film they made that was not good at all, and they made a Dracula film, which is why I think Sony hired them. And that movie was trash too. So the beginning of this film, Michael Morbius is going to South America to find these rare bats. These bats that has this rare gene in them in order to find the cure in his disease that he has. And also his brother Milo has as well. And these children that he's working at a hospital to try to find a cure to help him defeat this disease. Now this movie is a very slow burn, but it's not real good slow burn. So the story does move along kind of slow and very choppy, and it's hard. So I'm not trying to bash this film. I'm really trying to be nice about this film, but I'm just gonna go into my issues with the film. If you've seen the movie already, you've seen it. If you're not gonna see it, you're not gonna see it. I mean, there's countless YouTube reviews on it already. So the reason why we're doing this video, because myself and Carson Allen, we just wanted to talk about the film real quick and give like our own opinion about it and what's going on with this film, what went wrong with this film, what Sony is trying to do with their plans in the future, and if it does make sense adding up all together. So first thing about this film that I don't understand where they were going with Michael Morbius, because when you meet him and see him throughout this film, he's not a bad person at all. He's a real nice guy. He's trying to find this cure for his disease. So he's not, you don't see any like villain in him at all. No thing that really turns him into a villain. He's just a nice guy trying to find a cure for this rare disease. And I honestly think they made him very boring. And if you're gonna hire an actor like Jared Leto, you want someone that has some kind of charisma, someone that is eccentric. They just made Michael Morbius very boring, and I felt like they could have found anyone to play this role other than Jared Leto. They basically wasted his time. I felt like he was getting a bad end of the stick of, first the Joker movie, how they cut all his roles off in Suicide Squad, and now this movie, like he's just trying to get into the comic book genre, and I feel like he's just getting bad luck over, with those two films, and I felt like there's something here with Michael Morbius, they just did not do it right in this film, or the way they did it, it isn't presented to where it made sense that they hired Jared Leto to play this role. Like I said again, they could have found someone else. If they wanted Jared Leto, you let him be the character that he can make this Michael Morbius be. The only thing they really had, I think that was kind of Jared Leto, was the way he dressed. He was a good dresser. That's just not good enough. Like, you got Jared Leto, let him act, let him bring Michael Morbius into life. Don't have him be a dull character, and especially when he's your main character. You don't want your main character boring, because then the rest of the movie is boring, and then you checked out. That's what they basically did with this film. Some things about this movie really irritated me, and it didn't make any sense. Some things didn't make sense at all. There's times in this film where you're like, how the hell did that happen? Why did that happen? Who wrote that? Did you see that? The editing? The other guys edited. Did you guys watch this? There's a scene in this movie, and the ones that seen this movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. Michael Morbius is basically on the run, and they're trying. The cops and the FBI is trying to find him. He goes in this building, has like this open area where it's basically you can jump to the roof. Michael Morbius basically jumps to the roof. It's about, I don't know, 40 stories. Somehow, Tyree's character, Stroud, catches up to Michael Morbius on the roof, while Michael Morbius is not slow at all when he's jumping, from each side of the building trying to get to the top. It's real quick. There's no elevator in the world that would have got Shroud up to the roof of that building in time to catch Michael Morbius. So what they did, they planted a little seed earlier in the film saying he's still trying to control his powers. So he has a little issue with his powers for 2 seconds. Mind you, this is the writing that irritated me about this film. Even if he's not fully transformed into a vampire, Michael Morbius still has vampire type powers. He can still jump, he can still fly, he can still bite you and drain your blood if he's not in full vampire mode. So, for him not to have control of his powers, and a way they made that where he can control himself, it's basically like he can't control his thirst, so he had to drink like artificial blood, whatever. There was no point in that movie where they said he turns to a vampire at certain times and he gets these powers, and then when these powers go away, he's a normal human being. They didn't do that. He has his powers all the time. So how can someone who's having power issues, like controlling their powers, get caught from a guy who's down like on the first floor, probably had to take an elevator up to the 40th or 50th floor of a building, and then be like, yeah, I got you. It was absolutely horrible that they made that scene. I hate when movies do that crap. Like, don't do that. Don't make it seem like I'm dumb and the rest of the audience is stupid. If someone is fast and can move around quickly and they can get to the top of the floor pretty fast, and then you got someone who has to logically have to get into the elevator, hit what floor they're going to, get to the roof, find a door to get out to the roof and catch somebody. Don't insult our intelligence when it comes to this. And I felt like that scene what it was, and those scenes I can't stand. Now this is a scene in a movie. There's a scene in this movie that they took from Batman Begins. And when I mean they took from, I mean they took the whole entire scene, including the music, including the Batman music. The scene in this movie where they're back in the hospital and Michael Morbius has these bats that he caught from taking the trip down to South America to help him figure out this cure. He puts them in this glass cage. And he walks in this glass cage. And I'm like, the music hit. And I felt like they were, while they were making this movie, they were brainstorming this movie. I felt like they, like, in my head, I think just like going through the whole brainstorming of this scene and of this movie, it had to go like this. It had to. Or that scene in the movie in Batman Begins when Bruce Wayne is in the Batcave and he got that little light, and that light was like kind of got all these bats flying around him. He got scared and he ducked down. And he got scared and he got the courage and he got up. He's standing up with the bats and the bats were swirling around him and the Batman music hit. Yeah, that's what that is in the movie. Yeah. So you're saying you want to take the scene from Batman, the part when Bruce Wayne finally accepts the bats in the cage and in the cave, and he gets the courage that he's not afraid of the bats anymore, and he actually wants to show that he's going to be strong enough to be Batman. We have the bats flying around him, and the music too, like the Batman music. That's what you're talking about? That scene thing? Yeah, that scene is gonna be fantastic. We're gonna have Morbius just walk into this glass cage, and these bats are gonna fly around him, right? Then we're gonna hit the Batman music, and then we're gonna have this bond, this strong bond together, even for like, I don't know, it's like 5 seconds of the scene of him walking and having these bats swim around him. They're gonna have this connection, and it's gonna be so important. It's gonna be so important at the last part of the movie, in the final scene when he's fighting his brother, and he's gonna need these bats. It's gonna work. I'm telling you, it's the best thing we can do. Take it from Batman Begins, we're gonna put it in the movie, and it's gonna be great. The whole thing. He gonna walk in, he gonna get this little connection with these bats. And they be best friends, and they're gonna hit the Batman music. Boom, right there. Everybody in the theater gonna love it. Everybody. It's gonna be great. I see your point. I like that. We do need some kind of connection with the bats and Morbius at the end of the movie. I think this is actually a great idea. Do you think we could get Hans Zimmer? I mean, he can make the music for us, right? How about we just do this? I got my cell phone, right? I can download the app, download a video from YouTube, take off all the copyrights off of it, and put it in the movie. I mean, why spend like $2 million to get Hans Zimmer, or we could just rip it off on YouTube for free? We could do that. We only got $75 million for the movie. I actually like that. That's actually a good idea. I think we should do that. It would save us money, and we could put more more money into the special effects of Michael Morbius flying in the air. I love it. This is great. This movie's gonna be fantastic. I'm telling you. Yeah. So that's basically what happened. What you just saw is what happened in the movie. Okay. They took a scene from Batman Begins. Okay. Took the exact same music from Batman Begins, from that scene when Bruce Wayne stands up in the cave and the bats is flying around him. They ripped that from another movie. Use the same exact music from that scene. How lazy are you when it comes to writing this movie? Like there was no other connection with no way. And the bad thing about that, we explain how the Bats and Michael Morbius has a connection. That's the only connection you see. That's the only time you see them together in a movie is that one scene. So when you see it later in the movie, in the final act, when the Bats somehow break that thick glass cage, fly through all around New York City, and find Michael Morbius to help him defeat his brother. Why did you do that? Who said that was okay? How do you explain these powers? They don't explain that at all. So how can Michael Morbius have powers where he can command bats out of nowhere? That's the problem of this movie. That's the stupidity of writing. That's a movie that I honestly feel that they left so much on the cutting floor that there's got to be way more movie than what they provided us, because I feel like the story was choppy. It didn't make any sense. Some things they did not explain at all. When it comes to powers, how Milo got money, where there's the parents of Michael Morbius who adopted Milo as his stepbrother or adopted brother, like things like that. It really irritates me when movies do that. And then again, I'm saying all this, I'm making fun of this movie, and I still telling you that 17% does not give this movie any justice that it should be 70%. It definitely is better than 17%. I'm just telling you the things that made me roll my eyes watching this movie. So I'm gonna skip everything, because I mean, I just don't want to bash this movie anymore, but I gotta talk about the end credit scene. And the end credit scene, as much as I used to talk bad to my friends about DC and the things they do, and the continuity of not making any sense when it comes to I don't want to say Snyder World, or whatever they were trying to do at WB at the time. But this here, whatever they're trying to do, whatever Sony's trying to do right now, what are you doing? If you're trying to build a universe, and you're working with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios for the last 5 years, and the one thing they get down right in every single movie is continuity. Continuity. It all makes sense. If someone says something in this movie, and another movie comes up and they say it again, guess what? What they said in this movie still makes sense in that movie. Or if it tweak it a little bit, it's like, oh, light goes off. I get it now. I see where you're going, Marvel. The end credit of this film, for the ones who haven't seen it, I'm gonna say, if you want to know, stay here. If you don't, skip it. So the end credit of the scene. And for the ones that have seen this movie, if you want to comment below to tell us what you think, just to make sure that we are not crazy, that we're not Cocoa for our Cocoa Puffs, I appreciate it. So the end credit of this film. But right, you know what? Before I even talk about the end credit, let's talk about the movie that it's relying on first. Spider-Man No Way Home. Now remember the last spell Doctor Strange did, right? What was the purpose of that spell? That spell was for what? One, for anyone who knows Spider-Man's identity, knowing that he's Peter Parker, to erase that, right? And two, and most importantly, send everyone back who was not from that universe back to their original universe. Two things. Forget Spider-Man. Who is Spider-Man? Send people back to the original universe where they came from. This film, this end credit, takes that logic and says, you know what? We want to do our Sinister Six movie. This is how we're going to start it. You know how they started? Andrew Toombs, Vulture, for the MCU. Why are you wasting Michael Keaton's time with this trash? I don't know. So he comes into the Venomverse, because that's where Morbius is. He is in the Morbius universe. And we still don't know if there's a Spider-Man in this universe or not. We don't know if it's Tobey Maguire or it's Andrew Garfield. So we don't know yet. Who knows? We don't know. However, he comes into this universe, and for some reason he ends up in the jail, like a jail cell. And his first thing is saying, "I hope the food is better here." Butter grub or something. It's some terrible line. Some horribly written line. That's what he says. Along to that. They let him go free because I mean he didn't commit a crime in this universe, so you can't really technically keep him in jail. So okay, fine. I'll give you that. Now, at this point in the film, Michael Morbius is basically a fugitive. He escaped out of jail. The FBI is trying to find him. Somehow, some way, as Jim Ross says, Adrian Toomes finds Morbius, contacts him, telling him, "Meet me out in the boonies somewhere in the stick somewhere so we can talk." Michael Morbius is driving there with his luxury vehicle. I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was an Audi or Aston Martin or something. I forgot. A luxury vehicle. I'm sure he can afford that because he is a doctor. However, right now, at this point, he's a fugitive to the FBI. So wouldn't his assets be, I don't know, frozen and taken away by now? That usually happens when you're a fugitive, right? You have no money. If you have money, you have cash on yourself, and you probably gonna buy some, car. So you get, some random car. You're not gonna buy some luxury vehicle. People are looking for you. Why are you trying to be caught easily? That's dumb. So they finally meet in the sticks, and like I said from earlier in this video, that Michael Morbius did not show any kind of villainness in him at all. Straight nice guy. There's something crazy happened to him that turned him into a vampire. Total sweetheart who dresses well, and apparently still drives luxury vehicles even though he's a fugitive. So Edgar Toomes finds him, and they're basically, and this is what also took me off about this scene, knowing that they completely threw out everything that Spider-Man No Way Home did, that corrected the universe, and is probably the best film that came out of this whole series of films from Sony so far. They basically just ripped what came out of that movie and said, whatever, we're not gonna go with that. Nah. So Toomes shows up and meets Morbius in the same exact suit in MCU. How the hell did that happen? Were there any invasions happening in this world? I don't remember any Atari invasions in the in the Venom universe. I don't remember that. I don't remember them talking about that. Anything wacky or about aliens. They talk about what's going on the West Coast, and that's Venom. So how the hell was he able to build his same exact armor when this technology is not in this universe? Does that make sense to you? No, it does not. It makes sense to me, and I'm sure it didn't make sense to you. Another thing about that too. Now, fine. If you want him in a suit, cool. But he's in a new universe, so he should technically have a new suit. I mean, he's in a new world, new suit, a new life. Come on now. Why are we using the same tech? What? That makes sense. Character development. Michael Morbius is a sweet guy. Toomes from Spider-Man Homecoming was a villain, yes, but why? Because he was trying to feed and support his family, not because he's just a total villain. He hates people. Toomes basically is telling him, hey, this is Spider-Man's fault. We need to team up. I got some other guys. We can do some good. Let's be a team together. What Morbius say? Know what he says? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Like, come on. No. Like I said before earlier in this video, Michael Morbius is a sweetheart. a nice guy. He just trying to find a cure for his disease, and he turned into a vampire. Nothing in this movie made him a villain. Shoot, he was the hero of this film. He stopped his crazy brother from trying to suck everybody's blood out. And to try to turn that out of nowhere to make him like a full villain is absolutely stupid and dumb. And for Toombs too, he wasn't a full-fledged villain. Only reason he did what he did because one, Tony Stark took him out of business. Two, he's trying to provide for his family. Other than that, he really was not 100% full heel. If you mess with his money, he messed with you. And that was it. In credit in No Way Home, they proved his character. When Scorpion came up to him and was like, hey, I heard you know the identity of Spider-Man. And what did Vulture do? What did Toombs do? He said, I didn't know him. I don't know his identity. If I did, I would have killed him by now. He saved Peter Parker. That showed his heart, his true heart, that he's really not a bad dude. He was just trying to support his family. So to have him come to his world, which doesn't make any sense, because it basically tells the Doctor Strange spell is completely off. They just said, that makes sense. We're going to do what we want to do. To do that, and then to have the nerve that they change their characters, both of these guys who are not full heels, and try to force something that they should just build organically to a point where it makes more sense. They're forgetting the key ingredient why the Sinister Six got together, and that's Spider-Man. And how the hell are you going to do that? And how the heck does Michael Morbius know who Spider-Man is? So why would he join forces with Toombs saying, yeah, we got to get this Spider-Man? He doesn't know Spider-Man. He just knows Venom. And he doesn't even know Venom. He's never met Venom. So how the hell is he going to turn to a heel and be like, okay, I'm going to join this dude who came from another universe to get this dude named Spider-Man, which I have no connection at all. I don't even know who this guy is. Does that make sense? Did they read this before they put this movie out? No. And it takes me off because this movie was supposed to come out 2 years ago. And the fact that they held this movie for so long, and they probably chopped this thing up to the point where when you're watching it, it doesn't make any sense. It's a bad film. There's so much film that was probably left on the cutting room floor that could have made more sense. And, you know, if you have 2 years of sitting on this movie, and I understand COVID is an issue where you just can't bring people back and schedule gets involved and you just can't get people back on the same time to shoot. But would it make sense, especially with this end credit scene, that you know you're going to do this end credit scene, that you get it right, knowing that you're coming off one of the most successful movies you guys ever made? And then again, what I said before, you're working with Kevin Feige, who is the king of continuity. So you tell me in the last 5 years, this studio has not learned a damn thing about continuity? How to keep the story straight? How to make a story make sense? How to make better films? It blows my mind that they just forced in this Sinister Six thing. And now they're not even in the same universe with the Spider-Man that they need to build it with. How are they going to get back to the MCU in order to go after Spider-Man? And the most important thing, why are they going after Spider-Man? There's really nothing. How does Toombs know Spider-Man sent him there? That's another thing. Like, don't insult intelligence when you make these movies. If you want to build this Sinister Six, Sony, please make it make sense. You got another movie coming out in Craven. And you guys had audacity to put the same writers of this film to be the writers of that film. And I'm like, have you seen this film? Do you see what's going on? How the critics are destroying this film, how the fans are highly disappointed in this movie. After you coming off one of the biggest films that you guys ever made. You guys had all the momentum to just keep on rolling. And then the fact that you guys are working with Marvel makes it even worse. If this was DC, then I'd be like, okay, it's DC. They always mess up because the heads want to make money and they don't really care what they do for the DC films because they just want to make money. And if it doesn't makes money at the end of end of the year and they get their bonuses, woo, they're happy. But this, working with the guys who is destroying the box office right now with their movies, And you guys, you can't tell me you have not learned absolutely nothing working with them. That makes absolutely no sense. Well, you know what? I can't. I think I destroyed this film enough, and I have to let go before I have to hit stop record because I want to keep going. But I just want to say that even though I destroyed this film, and you probably watching this thinking, yeah, I deserve that 17%, or whatever it is today. It's definitely under 20%. This movie just still does not deserve that rating. It's still a watchable film. It's just the writing's bad. The way they edited this movie was horrible. And they threw logic out the window. They didn't use the philosophy or storyline that they created in Spider-Man No Way Home. And they are just bent crazy trying to make this Sinister Six movie. And like I said earlier, they're missing the most key ingredient why that group got together. And that's Spider-Man. Well, guys, thank you for watching my rant. And I hope you guys watch this film and see the things I saw, and to know that maybe this is just a blimp on the radar. Maybe when they bring out Craven, it would be better. I'm sorry, it wasn't Raven. It's Madam Web. I apologize. It's Madam Web. Those writers are writing for Madam Web now. They got a different set of directors and writers for Craven. My apologies. It's for Madam Web. So I guess that movie's gonna suck too. But thank you for watching Greenlight Entertainment. Let us know what you think about this film. How disappointed you were. What was your expectations for this film? Do you think Sony is trying to push the Sinister Six thing too much? Just let us know your comments and how you really feel about this whole Sony universe thing. Is it working out? I say, only way it's going to work out is if they communicate with each other and work with Marvel closely on all these films. Maybe we'll definitely get a decent Sinister Six movie with a Spider-Man that actually caused the reason why they got together. Thank you.